I hope you enjoy our check program. Now it's a time for the correct program. So what's the correct program is? It's a combination of a specific correction exercise, which is focusing on your mobility and your stability. It's really important to know the rules of a correct program. So rule number 1, no pain. If you do feel pain, stop this exercise and contact your physical therapist or your doctor. Rule number 2, no rush. Don't rush through the process. Make sure you observe what's going on with your body and specific exercise. Do you feel any tension? Do you feel any limited range of motion? The check program, it was programmed to find out the limited joints or limited movements in your body. Now it's time to correct it. So, no rush. Rule number 3, breathe. So all the time use your breath. Focus on your breath. Make sure you're doing an inhale and exhale. The movements on inhale and exhale. This is going to help you to activate your core also. No rush on progression. What's that mean? If you finish the level 1 without any problems and you don't feel any pain and you just go to the next exercise with such a higher progression and you do feel discomfort and the pain, I highly recommend go back to the first exercise or find maybe a secondary exercise which is going to help you to go to the progression number 2. We just remember the rule number 1, no pain. So don't rush yourself through the process. Rule number 5, control your movements. So don't try to compensate. It's no one rushing you and no one watching you. So this is correction exercise. Make sure you're doing right and correct. Big tip for this program. It's always great to do this program with somebody else because some observer or your gym body can see if you compensate or not. So this is really important to follow those rules and use that tip. Now you know the rules and big tip for this program. Please take your time, no rush yourself, and no pain. This is the main rules. And if you have any difficulties or problems, please contact your doctor or physical therapist. I would like to really talk about mobility of your thorax, hip, and ankle. Please focus on this area more because most problems coming from this area. If, like I said, if we've been talking about this million times, if you lost mobility in your thorax, you're going to get trouble in your lower back. If you lose ankle mobility or hip mobility, you're going to always problem with your knee, with your lower back and other. So please focus on those areas. And thank you for being our members and support RX Wellness. Thank you for watching us. Be with us. Share this information with your friends. This is all about you. This is all about healthy community. Thank you again. Thank you for support us. I'm very glad you become our member, and we do everything is possible from us to progress, get some more information about our human body, and tell this to you. Thank you for being our members. Thanks for your support. Enjoy this program. Our first exercise is going to be supine straight leg raise. This is exercise great for hip flexor mobility. So place your arms on the lower back and start slowly raise your leg up. Try to not bend your knee. Maybe micro bend is going to be good for that. So start slowly raise this leg up, and if you feel any pressure on your fingers, don't go further because you start using your lower back, not the hips. So do it right. Don't compensate with the other leg and don't bend your knee. The next exercise is a high knee walk. In this case, we're more focusing on stable of the ankle and hip together. So stay tall, go really slow, and raise the knee close to your chest. Do not collapse your chest towards the knee and don't round your back. Do it right. Repeat 5-6 times each side. Do not bend your back forward. Bring your torso down and raise your leg up. Micro bending is good. Go really slow through the movements. And as I can see, I can a little bit struggling with my right ankle and have a little bit collapsing chest, a little bit rounded back. So I need to work on my mobility in my ankle and a little bit stability on my core on the right side. So do it right. Don't round your back. Don't round your back. Exercise. It's a high knee walk to lunge. It's a similar as a 1.2 high knee walk. Only put the step back to the straight position. We lunge forward. The main idea it's a work on a unilateral hip flexions, and it's a high progression from the first exercise. Make sure you're not collapsing in chest, and make sure you're not round your back. And when you're lounging, it's also you're not collapsing your body. So do it right. And when you're lounging, your knee not supposed to be further than your big toe. Do it right. Repeat 7 times each side. Progression, we're going to start with a kneeling rock back. We have to sit down and go into the quadrupedal position, which means your wrist is meet shoulder and your knee meet your hips. You're gonna make sure your back is flat and straight and you're not collapsing in your chest. And you start going, push yourself backward towards your heel. If you start feeling you dropping and lose the arch in your lower back, you have to go back. Make sure you're doing right because you're focusing more on range of motion. This is going to help you with mobility and stability of your hip. Do it right. Don't round your back and don't collapse your chest. Next exercise is going to be squat to stand. This is great exercise for improve your squat and deadlift. You have to load yourself in a deep squat position with the knee out and go ahead and grab your foot inside your knee. Now you're going to raise yourself up and down. Don't try to bend your lower back and upper body. You see I can just have a slightly bend in the thoracic area. I have to mobilize that. The most common mistake, people grab outside the foot, and you can see it's really difficult to stand up. You're going to feel a lot of loading in your hamstring. Do it right. So chest up, don't round your back. Grab inside and do it right. Next progression, it's a goblet squat. We're going to pick the light kettlebell or dumbbell around 25-50 pounds. We're going to stay wide and 45 degrees on your ankles. Now slowly load yourself. Pick up the kettlebell. This is really great exercise for the hip mobility and thoracic mobility and core stability. The main idea, do not round your back and not collapse forward. If you do feel pain in your knee, stop doing this exercise. Your elbow have to touch your knee. Don't bend forward. Stay straight.
This is great exercise for squat and deadlifting. Do it right. Repeat 7-8 times.
Our next progression and bilateral hip mobility exercise is going to be prisoner squat. It's a really challenging exercise. You have to stay wide and place your arms behind your occipital area, right behind it, and slowly try to go down. It's really challenging for your ankle, hip, and thoracic area. Don't round it and don't collapse forward. If you do collapsing forward and in deep squat, your ankle is not mobile enough. Don't raise your heels up, as you can see I do it, and don't collapse forward. Do it right. So straight back, all the way down. Try to reach down as possible. There we go, as you can see it. This is really challenging. If you do feel pain, don't do that.
What's stopping you? Are you too tired? Didn't get enough sleep? Don't have enough energy? Don't have enough time? Is that what's stopping you right now? Don't have enough money? Is that the thing? Or is the thing that's stopping you, you?
And our first hip extension progression is going to be pulsing hip flexor mobility. We're going to sit down in the lunge, place some maybe rolling towel or air pad under your knee to not hurt your knee and patella bone. Make sure your legs is parallel to each other. Keep your core tight and tense your glute. Do not extend the lower back. Don't focus on the range of motion. If you do it right, you're going to feel the good stretch in your hip flexors. Make sure you're not bending forward, as you can see in the picture. Do it right. This is going to teach you hip extension in your lumbar area and in your hip. Do it right.
What's stopping you? Are you too tired? Didn't get enough sleep? Don't have enough energy? Don't have enough time? Is that what's stopping you right now? Don't have enough money? Is that the thing? Or is the thing that's stopping you, you?
Next progression for the hip flexors is going to be hip flexor mobility over the wall. I'm doing without wall, but I highly recommend do by the wall. It's a similar with the previous exercise, only you need to bring your foot towards your glutes. As you can see, I'm straight, parallel, and start leaning forward. Don't lean too much. You're going to feel good stretch in your rectus femoris. It's a quadriceps, and in your hip flexors. As you see, I'm demonstrate the wall. I highly recommend do by the wall. Don't lean forward. Don't bend. And do it right. Parallel, legs, tight core, and tight glutes. You're going to feel killer stretch. First progression and abduction of the hip is going to be side lane leg raise. You have to lay down on one side and stuck one leg on the top of the other. Really slowly start raising your leg up, driving heels. Don't bend your knee and keep your core tight. You're going to feel activation in your glutes, and also you're going to feel lower back versus your hip mobility. Driving really slow. Don't do any kick because you can injure your lower back. Do it right, and it should be a great exercise for your abduction of the hip.
next progression on hip abduction is going to be split stand kneeling. We have to stack our knee under the hip and bring one leg on the side. We're going to start bending backward, and you're going to feel the stretch in your abductors. Try to arch your back and don't look up. Don't round your back. And go really slow. You're going to feel a great stretch, and it's also great for the hip mobility. Do it right.
Next progression is going to be the same exercise was before, but we're going to add twist and raise your arms up. It's gonna create more mobility in our thoracic area and twist in your Psoas. As you can see, a little bit struggling right there. So long lunge, don't bend your lower back and don't collapse on your chest. As you can see, so probably lose the balance. It's really good exercise for the balancing and also ankle mobility. Here we go. Long stretch, long lunge, and twist all the way up and look up. Don't collapse on your chest. If you do feel pain, stop doing this exercise. Lunge forward and good twist. A little bit limited right there.
Our first progression in the hip external rotation progression is going to be seated 90 to 90 exercise. So you have to do 6-8 times per side. You have to sit straight and don't collapse on your chest. You put your one knee above your other knee and push gently and slow. Count till 3 and push again. So we do 6-8 times per side. Don't collapse and do chest up. If you do feel pain, stop doing this exercise and contact your physical therapist. Do it right.
Straddle walk is the next progression in our external hip mobility and also great exercise for stability of other hip. So stand up, grab your ankle and knee and try to pull close to your body. This is great exercise. Most people compensate and round the back and lose the core. So make sure you're doing right. You stay straight, your chest up, pull your knee and ankle close to your body. Repeat 10 times. This is great exercise for stability. Don't collapse.
Our next progression on hip abduction is going to be split stand kneeling. We have to stack our knee under the hip and bring one leg on the side. We're going to start bending backward, and you're going to feel the stretch in your abductors. Try to arch your back and don't look up. Don't round your back. And go really slow. You're going to feel a great stretch, and it's also great for the hip mobility. Do
The next progression is going to be split stance hip swivels. We're doing this for the time, not for the reps. Probably 15-20 seconds per side. So it looks like a split stance, but you start rotating your hip, not the lower back. You have to maintain your neutral spine through the whole exercise. Don't arch your lower back and use your big toe to driving your hip up. So use the hip. Rotate it slowly. If you do feel pain, stop this exercise. Make sure you're doing right and rotate your hips, not the lower back. And try to keep your chin down. As you can see, I lifted my chin up. Chin have to be down. The most challenging progression in hip external rotation is going to be hip airplane. We do 6 times per side, but it's really challenging. If you're not ready for this exercise and you feel pain or discomfort, please go back to those patterns before and try to get there. As you can see in the video, I'm really struggling. The idea is to shift it weight to leg. You're gonna do the twist and twist from your hip, not from your lumbar area.
So try to maintain incline of the upper body through the exercise. And like I said, rotate from the hip, not from the lumbar spine. And it's also work on your ankle mobility and core stability. This is really challenging exercise. So be careful when you're doing that. If you're not ready, don't go. Good luck. Our first progression is going to be kneeling glute mobility. We're probably going to do around 12 times per one side. The main idea, it's a setup for quadrupedal position. Your arms have to be under the shoulders and your knee under your hips. Now you're going to cross the side you would like to mobilize. You have to cross and place right below your knee, as you can see on this video. Make sure you're not rounded your back and keep your spine neutral. Now you shifted your weight down, straight down. Don't try to shift your weight to the sides because it's not doing right positioning and not right exercise. So make sure you're doing right. You have to feel the stretch in your side you've been crossed the leg. Let's say if I'm crossed the right one, you have to feel in the right side. So do it right. If you do feel pain, stop doing this exercise. Our next progression is going to be overhead reverse lunge. We do 6-8 times per side. The main idea of this exercise, you do chest up, you do not round your shoulders and upper back, and do a reverse lunge. Don't step too much aside and laterally because you're going to the possibility of collapsing. Don't collapse. Do it right. If you feel pain, please stop doing this exercise. You have to do feel the stretch in your hip flexors and in your thigh. Our first progression in hip internal rotation progression is going to be lie knee to knee pull. We do 8 times, and before we start this exercise, I would like to focus on the history of your knee pain. If you do have history of knee pain, please be careful and do this exercise with really cautious. If you do feel pain, stop doing this exercise. Otherwise, lay down flat, bring your legs a little bit wider than your hips, and start bringing your knee together. If you do feel pain, stop. Also, do not lift your heels. Make sure your heels is always stay on the ground and your back is flat. You have to feel the stretch in your hip. Our next progression is going to be prone windshield wiper. You have to lay down on your stomach, bring your arms under your chin, bring your knee together and raise your legs up to 90 degrees. Now from this position, drop your foot to the side. Make sure it's no pain and you stick your knee together as much as possible. So it's hard to screw up this exercise. Just focus on your mobility of your hip. If you do feel pain, stop this exercise. Our next progression in internal hip rotation, we did use an external hip rotation, so we can use it again in this case. So it's going to be split stance hip and airplane. The next progression is going to be split stance hip swivels. We're doing this for the time, not for the reps. probably 15-20 seconds per side. So it looks like a split stance, but you start rotating your hip, not the lower back. You have to maintain your neutral spine through the whole exercise. Don't arch your lower back, and use your big toe to driving your hip up. So use the hip, rotate it slowly. If you do feel pain, stop this exercise. Make sure you're doing right and rotate your hips, not the lower back. And try to keep your chin down. As you can see, I lifted my chin up. Chin have to be down. The most challenging progression in hip external rotation is going to be hip airplane. We do 6 times per side, but it's really challenging. If you're not ready for this exercise and you feel pain or discomfort, please go back to those patterns before and try to get there. As you can see in the video, I'm really struggling. The idea is to shift it weight to leg. You're going to do the twist and twist from your hip, not from your lumbar area. So try to maintain incline of the upper body through the exercise. And like I said, rotate from the hip, not from the lumbar spine. And it's also work on your ankle mobility and core stability. This is really challenging exercise. So be careful when you're doing that. If you're not ready, don't go. Good luck. Our first progression in glute activation and muscle activation is going to be face up bridge. We probably do for around 8-15 times. It depends how fast you're going to feel this muscle activation. This is all about to doing and activate the right muscle. So you have to lay down, face up, spread your legs on distance of your hip, and start your hands on the side and start squeezing your glutes and try to do the bridge. Don't go so far, don't do hyperextension. So the key is drive to the heels and use the glutes, not the lower back and hamstring. Do not go far. Our next progression in a glute activation is going to be bridge with one leg. It's a really challenging progression from the first exercise. So please make sure you do the previous exercise you do correctly and smoothly. So lay down face up, the palms down, and bring your one leg, which is one you want to do, which is like you want to focus, bring towards to your body, grab your shin and start squeeze your glutes and try to do extension. If you do feel pain in your spine, stop doing this exercise. So don't go so far, do really slow, breathe through the exercise, drive through the heels. Do not use your lower back and hamstring. Avoid riding your back when you're grabbing your shin. Your head should be stay on the floor during this exercise. Do it right. Our next progression in the glute activation group going to be wall isometric hold. We do from 8 to 10 times per side, and we're going to hold and count 1 and 2 in the high position of the knee. I'm not doing this right. I'm going so fast, but in the right way, you have to hold for 2 seconds and breathe in the top position of the knee. So stay tight and tall. Squeeze your glutes. Lean towards the wall and start driving your knee up. Use your Psoas muscle. Don't use your hamstring. Drive slowly, keep your breath, do it right. Our next progression is going to be bowler squat. I was really excited to do this exercise because it's not just challenge my hip, it challenged my ankle and also help me with my cross chain pattern exercise. So the tip is stay on the side, start with a short distance, probably 5-6 inches. Use the cone or kettlebell. So you place it 5-6 inches away of standing leg, and now you try to reach with opposite leg and touch the cone or kettlebell. Do 8 times per side. You're going to feel this burning sensation in your glutes. If you do feel pain, stop this exercise. This is the great exercise, not just activated, and movements in 3 dimension. Use this exercise. It's really powerful exercise. And our next progression is the hip raise wall slide. So get comfortable close to the wall, attach 3 point of your body. It's a head, thoracic area, glutes, and your heel. Take your shoes off, only if this is not 24 fitness, because you're going to repaint your wall. Slowly move from your hip and raise your leg up. Always attach those points against the wall. Do not break those points. Always push your heel against the wall. Don't take your heel away from the wall. Control your movements. Go slow down and up. Take a breath. Focus on your breath. Our next progression is going to be X-band walk. I probably do like a 15-20 times before the field, left to the right. This is really, really powerful exercise, and you're going to feel this glutes activation right away. So stay tall. I highly recommend choose the band from 15 to 20 pounds from beginning, and of course to increase the strength later. So stay tall, chest up. Do not release tension in the band. Band always have to be tight. Pull the band close to your pecs and always try to hold that way. Do not lower it down. Do not lower your lower back. Do not bend your torso. Stay tall. Breathe and focus on the breath and attention and in the band. Enjoy this exercise. Our next exercise for glute activation is going to be side laying clamps, and you can do without band, but we're going to do with the bands. It's going to create more feedback and more kind of tension between your glutes, so you're going to feel faster. So lay down, place the resistant bands right above your knee. Lay down on the side and really slowly start separate your knees. Don't separate your heels and your foot. They're going to stay together, as you can see on the video. So keep the core tight and rotate from the hips versus lower back. Hip range of motion may be limited at the first time, especially when you add resistant bands. So do this exercise right. Don't use your lower back. Our first progression with PSOS activation is going to be laying PSOS march. This is really powerful exercise, and this is beginning progression for this type of work, correction work. So lay down face up and place the band on your foot. Make sure it's not going to point it in your face when you do the exercise. So your hands have to be placed under the lower back. If you're not able to do that, you can roll the towel and put some towel. The main idea of this correction exercise is try to run from your hip, not from your lower back, and keep the natural curve of your spine. So keep your arm under the lower back, keep natural lower back curve, pull the knee straight line, do not bend to the side. If you do bend to the side, stop doing this exercise and go back to other progression. Try to reach 90 degrees without using your lower back. Do it right. Our next progression on PSOS, it's going to be seated PSOS hold, or PSOS raise leg up. So we do like a 4 or 5 times per side. You can do without holding and breathing, but the next progression is going to be you have to count till 2 or 3 and hold it in the top position of your knee. So sit down tall, don't collapse in your chest, and start slowly raise your knee up. So pull towards your chest. Don't collapse in your chest. If you do feel pain, stop doing this exercise. It's really fun exercise you can do at office. The next progression is going to be a similar exercise, but we're going to do standing. And then this time we're going to place the hands behind our neck. So right behind the occipital area. This is exercise also great for stability and for core activation for other hip. So go ahead, stay tall, don't collapse on your chest, and don't run through the your lumbar area. So all you need to do, just slowly raise your knee up and hold for 2 seconds. Count 1, 2, and let it go. Routine is gonna like everyone because the most injury is coming from ankle, and a lot of athletes being injured already. So this is great mobility exercise, and the first mobility for the ankle is going to be rocking ankle mobility. So we go into the upper dog, feet and hands further apart. The more they're further apart, the more you feel stretch. Place one toe on another leg heel and push it down. Now you're going to dorsiflex your foot of other leg, which has been on the top. So the top leg is pushing down and other leg do dorsiflexion. So do it right. Don't collapse in your chest. If you feel pain, stop doing this exercise. Our next progression is going to be wall ankle mobility. This is not a stretch, this is mobility drill. So you're not going to feel a lot, but you're going to place your foot away from the wall, the distance, your fist. So place the fist to measure your distance between the wall and your first big toe. Now shift the weight forward and try to touch with your knee the wall. Like I said, you're not going to feel a lot of stretch, but this is mobility drill. So stay tall, lift, move slow, deep breathing, do not bend to the side. If you do feel pain, stop this exercise. Our last progression in ankle mobility is going to be knee breaking ankle mobility. We're going to find the weight plates, probably like a 10 pounds, 1 inch or higher. And we're going to step with our toe and drop our heels down. Now you slowly going to shift your knee forward. Do not bend your knee to the side.
So keep your weight on the heels. If you do feel a significant asymmetry between the side, go back to previous progression. If you feel pain, stop doing this exercise. We're doing 8, 10 times. Our next mobility is going to be thoracic area. I highly recommend to focus on this thorax area because everything is go from here. All your breathing, and this is really important to keep this area mobile. So the first progression is going to be thoracic extension. We picked a roller, foam roller, or yoga ball. We start with the yoga ball, but you can also easily go to the roller. So your chin have to be tucked. Your glute always touch the ground. Your leg is going to be 90 degrees. What you're going to do, you place the roller or yoga ball under your mid back, not under your lower body. And after you tuck your chin, start extend your upper body. Like I said, don't use your lower body, use your upper body. You're going to feel a lot of popping and cracking. If you do feel pain, stop doing this exercise. This is really, really important. Our next progression in thoracic mobility progression is going to be bent over T-spine rotation. I believe this is the pure mobility exercise for thoracic area. And as I said before, the thoracic area, we need the focus to be mobilized all the time. If we're not focusing and we lose mobility in your thoracic area, we start using lumbar area. And that means we're losing stability in our lumbar area. So stay in a good morning position or deadlift position. Bring your arms under your armpit and 90 degrees. So bend slightly. Do not lose your natural curve of your spine. So keep arm 90 degrees angle to the body. Now start slowly rotate your arm neck to the ceiling, to the top position. Like I said, don't try to shift your hips. Just try to rotate through the thoracic area. If you do feel pain, stop this exercise. Do it slowly, do it breathly. Do not shift your hips again. Our next progression is going to be quadruple extension rotation. This is really powerful tool I always use for my thoracic mobility. So the key is you have to stand up in a quadruple position. Your wrist reach your shoulders and your hip reach your knee. So now place your arm behind your occipital area and start slowly move towards your opposite knee. And when you move up, you move towards the ceiling. Do not try to shift your hips and move from your upper body, not from your lumbar area. And most people shift the hips. So don't shift your hips. Move slowly to the opposite knee and back to the ceiling. Do it right. Our next progression, it's a combination of yoga and exercise. It's a yoga push-up. So the first part, you have to do push-up, and now you have to shift your heels down and drop your body in upper dog. So the highly recommend do on yoga mat, because as you can see on the video, I a little bit slipped away. And please focus on using your upper body, not the lower body. Do not sag your lower back. Keep your elbow tucked and keep your chin tucked too. Do not look up. If you're going to be look up and try to drop your body down, you can injure your neck, cervical area. Do it right. Final progression in thoracic mobility is going to be squat, extension, rotation. So you have to go sit down in a deep squat and place your arm under your foot inside your knee. So don't place your arms outside because you're not going to be able to rotate. Now, make sure you're in a deep squat, your back is not bending. Take a deep breath and raise your arm up to the ceiling and rotate at the same time. Create a twist with the other arm. So do some opposite counterforce. Do it right, chest up. If you do feel pain, stop this exercise. Our first progression in serratus muscle, so it's a breathing muscle, diaphragm. I highly recommend just start with the alligator breathing, and so it's a lay down on the floor and just breathe very deeply and slow. But our first exercise in this group of muscles is going to be forearm wall slide. So you have to stay against the wall 5-6 inches away and place your arms on the wall. Go ahead and slide the parallel each other. So now you're gonna head slide up. If you do feel pain in your shoulder, stop doing this exercise. You might have a shoulder impingement or other injury. So you slide up. When you bring parallel to your body, you have to take it away and try to squeeze your shoulder blades. You're gonna feel activation between your shoulder blades and little stretch in your pecs. Do it right. Keep your head neutral and neck and neck. So keep your head and neck neutral. Our second progression in scapular activation and muscle between the shoulder blades is going to be scapular push-up. And we're going to do this in quadrupedal position. We do from 10 to 15 reps. Big tips: do not sag your hip, keep your tight core, do not bend your elbow. As you can see, Mike, a little bit micro bending is fine, but if you bend too much, it's mean compensation. So move from your shoulder blades, keep your head neutral. Don't look up, so just kind of neutral spine. Make sure you do feel when you squeeze your shoulder blades. You have to feel this muscle activation. You can also apply the band between your arms. It's gonna activate your core. Our next progression is gonna be really challenge. So before you start doing this exercise, make sure you do previously very comfortable. You're gonna set yourself up in a push-up position, and you're gonna lift one of the leg up. Try to do not shift your hips, and slowly do the scapular pronation. It's also really powerful tool for muscle activation between your shoulder blades. Go ahead, switch the sides. Make sure you don't feel pain. If you do feel pain, go back to the first pattern. Our first progression to healthy shoulder is going to be cross body stretch. We're doing this probably 10 times per arm. The tip is you can even do in the bed. You can do on the floor at the gym. The most important is a head support. So place some head support. Bring your elbow to 90 degrees. Your chest have to be out. You have to go slow. So bring in 90 degrees. Place opposite arm under the shoulder, as you can see on the video, and start lift it up. What you're gonna do with the opposite arm, you have to create counter force. So when you push down, kind of resist with your other arm. Count to 1,000, 2,000 in the top of the motion. If you do feel pain, stop this exercise. Our next progression is going to be sleeper stretch. You can also stay in the same position. You can do this in your bed. Just make sure you have a support for your head. So go slow. You have the chest out. Do not round your shoulders. So be really gentle and try to reach more angle. So you apply the hands and push a little bit down. So reach the angle you feel it's a little bit resisted. Now apply pressure. Count for 1, 2, 3. Release it and see how far you can go. If you do feel pain in your shoulder, stop doing this exercise.
Our next progression is going to be face down rotation. You have to lay down on your stomach on the bench or the bed or massage table and bring your arm to 90 degrees. It's really important to place towel or some little buff under your forearm, so under the biceps. Bring to the 90 degrees and start slowly rotate your shoulder towards your hip. Do not lift your shoulder and do not shrug your shoulder. It's really important to uh, not flex your wrist also. So do it right. You have to feel good stretch in your shoulder. If you're not doing right and lift your shoulder up, you're not going to feel anything. So do it right. Our next progression in rotation, the shoulder rotation, is going to be dynamic black burn. So we have to lay down on our stomach, probably massage table or bed is going to be helpful. Make sure it's nothing on the side. You have to tuck your chin in front of you, and the point is, do not force the range of motion. If you do feel pain in any movements in this movement, stop doing this exercise. So place your arms in the lower back. Now slowly raise your elbow up and start rotating your shoulders. When you reach 90 degrees, try to rotate thumbs up. And we're looking for like a type of Y sign. So it's going to be 120 degrees between your left and right arm and 80 degrees in front of you. So make sure you're doing right. You not lift your shoulders up and you not drop your arms. They have to be parallel of the table. Do it right. Do not force this exercise. Our next progression for shoulder activation and muscle between your shoulder blades activation, and also stretching in your pecs, is going to be no money drill. We can do on the floor, we can do against the wall. I probably do like a 10-15 times with 10-15 pounds stretching band. So tuck your chin, put some head roller or head pad under your occipital area, and do not move your occipital. Do not lift it. Do not lift it your head. This is, you can seriously injure your cervical area during this exercise. So do not shrug your shoulders and do not cave your chest. Go really slow with the movements. I will probably suggest take a deep breath in and on the pulling down, and breathe out and bring it arms back to the neutral position. So do it slow, do it without the pain. Our next progression is going to be sideline rotation. Lay down on your side. Your bottom leg is going to be straight and the top leg is going to be bringing to 90 degrees. I highly recommend put some foam roller or a medical ball. So now you bring your the lower arm top to the ceiling. Now start do rotation from the upper arm. The rotation is going to go through the upper arm. You try to go down 90 degrees and bring it to your knee. So take a look in this video. Do not round your shoulders and twist your body. Don't go from your lumbar. Go from your upper body and your shoulder. Do it right. If you do feel pain, stop this exercise. Our next progression is going to be split stance broomsticks pec mobility. Also great for pec stretch and mobility of your shoulder and muscle activation between your shoulder blades. It's really great exercise for people who are sitting at the computer all day long. So the tips is, decide you when doing it. Let's say I'm doing left side, I have to step with my left leg forward and also cover with my left arm and the top of the broomstick. Now the distance between your legs have to be 1 or 1.5 foot. Do not rotate your toes. Make sure your feet is parallel. Pull your shoulder blade back down as you're driving the stick back. You have to feel the shoulder. Our first progression on lats activation and muscle between your shoulder blades is going to be wall angel. Wall angel, it's a really powerful exercise. So you have to be done well. So we have to stay against the wall, make sure we're attached to 3 points of our body. I'm going to show the Michael right there a little bit space. You have to tuck the chest to the wall. So 3 attachments, your thoracic area, your lower back, and your head. If you don't have attachment against the wall, you're not doing right. So now you're going to place your arms on the wall and try to touch the wall with your arms, try to slightly up. You can still see the space between Michael lower back. This is not a little bit right. So do it slow. If you do feel pain in your shoulder, stop doing this exercise. Our next progression on lats activation and shoulder blades, it's going to be behind neck pull apart. So we probably do from 10 till 15 times. And my tip for this exercise, you have to stay tall. Do not bend your torso. Do not bend your lower back. So chest up, head forward, and keep your chin tucked. Do not round your back. If you're gonna start lean forward with your chin and with your head, you might injure yourself. So some people say it's really easy than the wall angel. It's only because you start compensate. So try to get your back straight and pull really slowly and count till 1,000 to 1,000. Do this exercise right. Reach, roll, and lift. It's going to be our next progression in activation of your lats and the muscle between your shoulder blades. So the most important, you have to step in quadrupedal position. Your wrist reach your shoulders and your knee reach your hips. Now try to slide your arm as far as possible in the front of you. Now roll your palms up and slowly lift your arm up as far as possible. If you feel pain or pinch in your shoulder, don't go further. If you want to go to the next progression, you can attach your forearm to the ground and start to lift it from this position. It's really powerful, so be careful. If you do feel pinch in your shoulder and pain, stop doing this exercise. Don't compensate with elbow, and keep your head neutral. Our first progression and upward rotation we did use before in serratus muscle and diaphragm muscle. So the first exercise is going to be forearm wall slide. It's going to be forearm wall slide. So you have to stay against the wall 5-6 inches away and place your arms on the wall. Go ahead and slide the parallel each other. So now you're gonna slide up. If you do feel pain in your shoulder, stop doing this exercise. You might have a shoulder impingement or other injury. So you slide up. When you bring parallel to your body, you have to take it away and try to squeeze your shoulder blades. You're gonna feel activation between your shoulder blades and little stretch in your pecs. Do it right. Keep your head neutral and neck. So keep your head and neck neutral. Our next progression in upward rotation is going to be prone trap raise. You can do this standing or you can do this at bench. So we probably do around 10-14 reps for 2 sets. The main idea is do not round the back, do not move your head and keep your neck neutral. Drive from the scapular, not from the shoulders. Do not shrug your shoulder. It's also teaching you good deadlift postural. Our first progression in neck correction and head forward postural is going to be standing chin tuck. The main idea is activate muscle in the back of your neck with the help support of your pec muscle. So you're going to apply one hand in your pecs and another hand like a tuning fork to your chin. What you're doing in this movement, you pull with your left arm your pec muscle, and at the same time you push your chin down, so you try to tuck the chin. You, after a couple times, you're gonna feel a lot of muscle activation in your back. Do this exercise right. The next one is going to be the same similar exercise, but standing against the wall. We're doing this exercise in case if you compensate with your upper body. So place your two arms on your pecs and start do chin tuck. If you feel pain in your occipital area, stop doing this exercise. The main idea, activate muscle in the back. Be really cautious doing this exercise. It's really important to not feel any pain. So push your pecs is really gentle down too. You're going to stretch the fascia also. Our next progression for the neck correction and head forward posture, we use an excavator. It's a funny name, but if you take a look, we use our neck as a scoop, like a scoop of excavator. So the basic is you have to stand up in a quadrupedal position and slowly drop your chin down and kind of scoop, reach the point, the peak point without the pain. It's kind of scoop your chin, tuck your chin up, and try to lift it up. Next progression in the head forward postural and neck muscle activation is going to be wall angel. We use this exercise before in scapular activation and muscle between the shoulder blades. Use this exercise right. Take a look one more time. So we have to stay against the wall. Make sure we're attached to 3 points of our body. I'm gonna show the Michael right there, a little bit space. It's you have to tuck the chest to the wall. So 3 attachment, your thoracic area, your lower back, and your head. If you don't have attachment against the wall, you're not doing right. So now you're going to place your arms on the wall and try to touch the wall with your arms, try to slightly up. You can still see the space between Michael lower back. This is not a little bit right. So do it slow. If you do feel pain in your shoulder, stop doing this exercise.